San Mateo area, and that I'm in the teaching credential program, the multiple subject. And I'm going to be in Indonesia, Yogyakarta, teaching English as a second language to middle school and high school students at the Mollymont Girls School with Grace. I'm going to be co-teaching with Grace. And yeah, I'm just really excited about going. Really excited. I just got all my clothes for Indonesia and everything, so I'm fully ready and excited to give more help and help the relationships between Americans and the Muslim world. So.
What kind of clothes?
I got like lighter kind of like pants and you know, a shirt like this, like I'm wearing right now, so different kind of clothes, pants, long skirts, and shirts and all that stuff. So, and I got some headscarves. So.
Great.
Well, I'm gonna have to YouTube though how to wrap it around my head a specific way.
I'll show you, yeah. And they'll take great delight in showing you.
Yeah.
Layla, do you have audio? No. You do charades, who you are, where you're from. Okay. Do you want to type something in the chat box, just introducing yourself? And the real Kate Knight just emailed me and is trying to get in. All right, there's the real Kate.
Hi guys, sorry.
It's okay. I apologize. I had a hard time with this, and I actually found somebody else named Kate Knight in our address book and invited her, and she joined for a moment, and it was disappointing for everybody involved. So Kate, Caroline just introduced herself. Layla's typing an introduction. Why don't you introduce yourself as well, and we'll go ahead and get started.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kate. I go to school at Rollins College, which is in Orlando, Florida, and I live in Savannah, Georgia. Yep, grew up in California. I'm going to be working in Zanzibar this summer at the English Speaking International School. Really excited.
Good. Okay, so guys, I'm excited about this class. It's, for me, one of the really fun things about the summer program is teaching this class. We're actually doing it right now with the Morocco and Tajikistan group, and so we're about halfway through it. And we've done this class through the College of New Jersey for the last couple of years, and this is the first time actually where we've had students from different countries participating in the class together at the same time. And this is our first meeting, and we're really just going to go through the syllabus, and I'll just give a little overview of what we're going to do together with the summer course. But we're going to do 2 class sessions while you guys are in Indonesia and Zanzibar, and it's been really fun to see the Morocco and Tajikistan groups talk about these issues together and to have that cross cultural, different region perspective that they've brought to it. So I'm looking forward to bringing you guys together as well. And we have 3 other students who are in the class, so there's actually 3 of you in each country that are going to be in the class together. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. The 2 major themes for the class are international development and citizen diplomacy. And for me, I have 3 objectives, for the class with you guys. And the first objective is to introduce you to these concepts and to expose you to some of the different literature that surrounds them, and just to have really good discussion about these ideas. And my philosophy with this is that I don't want to overwhelm you with a lot of reading for the course and an extra amount of work just to demonstrate that you are doing work and you're committed to the class. So to me, the internship and the experience in country is really the starting point and the focal point for the class. And by giving you some introduction to international development as a field and citizen diplomacy as a practice, I want you guys to have that kind of backdrop and context for what you're doing day in and day out in your internships to frame that experience as citizen diplomats and as unofficial ambassadors who are trying to have an impact from a sustainable development perspective, whether you're teaching in Mualamat School or Zanzibari Public School, or whether you're working in an NGO in Zanzibar or in Indonesia. That there's things here for you guys to be thinking about and then applying in your work. And so my first objective is to introduce those concepts, and then my second objective is to give you that context for your experience. That, frankly, I think you get a little bit more, and you'll have a little bit more appreciation out of what you do day in and day out if you are not just doing it, but that you're thinking about it in this way and that you're placing yourself within these fields. And so I want you to have that context. And then the third thing that I really want for you guys to get out of this class is I want to help you improve your writing skills. And it's something that, like, for me, I think about if you're interested in going into either the not-for-profit sector or even the private sector, your writing skills are, if not the most important, then probably the second most important skill set that you'll have. And as a group of people who are interested in your professional development, I've found it frustrating at times that some of the people who have gone through our program are capable of writing a 30-page paper and are asked to write a 30-page paper, but they can't do the professional writing or the reflective writing that's required for jobs in the sector where we work, and the reflective writing that's really useful to understanding what it is that you're doing and practicing your critical thinking skills. So as part of this course, there's going to be 3 different kinds of writing assignments. The first are the short response papers that you guys will do for the readings. And for each one of these different kinds of writing assignments, there's a very specific audience. And for that first one, that audience is for yourself. It's reflective, that we're giving you things to think about, and we want for you to analyze for yourself what it means to you and what you took away from it. With these short, and we'll go through the syllabus, but with these short one-page response papers, nowhere in those papers do I want for you guys to be writing summaries of what the readings were. Like I've read these things so many times, and I'm only giving you a chapter out of a couple of different books. I'm not giving you the whole book to read. If you like it, then you'll get the book and you'll read the book. But I want to know what it is that you think about the topic. And I just want to stress that, because one page is a very short amount of space. If you're going to spend a bunch of time saying, well, Sachs said this, or Easterly said that, it's a waste of time. The whole idea is for us to have discussion, both discussion in your exchange of your discussion papers, and also when we get online for these virtual classes to talk with each other. And so with each of those reflective discussion pieces that you write, I'm going to ask you to actually not just email them to me, but email them to the whole group so that we can all read them before our class together. The second kind of writing that we're going to work on is writing for public consumption, for larger target audiences who you don't know and that they don't know you. And that's a challenge for a lot of people to do for the first time. That when you think about, and this will take the form of the blog posts that you guys do for the Unofficial Ambassadors blog, or if we're able to get you published somewhere else for a different blog. And the idea with this is not to be writing home, what I sometimes call camp letters. Dear Mom and Dad, this is what I did that day. And that can be written beautifully in terms of your description of what it is that you did. But if I'm not related to you, or if I don't know you well, then I don't really care. Like, it doesn't touch me in that next level of why you read the Lives page on the New York Times Magazine, the last page of the New York Times Magazine, or why you read different kind of essays about different places. Is that the person who's writing that, the author, is describing something, a problem, a place, that you don't need to know that person to be sucked in and to want to know more or to learn about something new. And so we're going to work on that as well. And I'll say that I almost never give any comments on the discussion pieces. On the blog posts, I give a lot of comments, and I put in a lot of what I hope is constructive feedback. And it's very rare. Hey, Christina, welcome.
Hi. Sorry I'm late.
No problem. We're just talking about the syllabus, and I actually hadn't even started going through it yet. I was just talking about objectives for the course, and just to briefly recap, citizen diplomacy and international development are the two main themes that we're going to discuss. And one of the things the two things that I really want to pride myself on with this course is, one, giving you guys a better context for your internship placements, and keeping in mind that your internship is the focal point of this course, that what you do there is the most important thing. And then the second thing, which I was just talking about, is helping you to improve your writing. And so the second kind of writing that we're going to do, which I'm talking about, is the blog post, is for public consumption. And there's a back and forth on it. So you guys will send your pieces in. I'll edit them, and I'll send them back to you with comments and ask you to explore certain things and to work on them a little bit further. And that's just part of the process. I don't want anyone to feel as if like they're personally being attacked or picked on because they're getting a lot of comments. This is all in the vein of being able to help you create a published document that, one, you have the experience of publishing something that's truly should be published, and two, that you have a writing sample that you can provide for a job interview or for graduate school that is useful to you. The third kind of writing that we're going to do with this is the kind of writing that you do every day in a non-governmental organization or in the government, and that's at a professional level. And like I was saying before, I don't consider writing a 30-page paper to be professional writing, like a 30-page research paper. That has its own value, particularly if you're in a doctoral program or you're writing a book, and that can be expanded into something larger. But by and large, the writing that makes government and not-for-profit sector or non-governmental sector makes the world turn are 1- and 2-page memos that could be, like in the case of the State Department, like an information memo where you send out 1 page or 2 pages to your boss that describes a certain situation that you want for him or her to be aware of, or a decision memo where you similarly frame a situation for a decision maker so they can make a decision, or like a funding memo where you're describing a problem and the kind of funding solution that you need in order to be able to solve it. But these are very tight, analytical, concise memos where frequently you take what you've written, you throw out the first couple paragraphs because it was all a warm-up, and you go straight to the point of what it is that you want to say. And so one of our final projects for this class is to write a professional-style 2-page memo. And that's another one that, as I put in the syllabus, I really encourage you to submit a first draft so that I can give you feedback and we can work on it together. If you don't want to do that, there's no obligation that you can do that, that you have to do that. But again, this is something that I hope that you'll take in hand to a job interview or a need for a writing sample that is a really strong professional memo that is indicative of like what kind of thing you would write if you were working at our organization here in DC. So with that as an introduction, can you guys turn to page 2 of your syllabus? Any questions to this point? Or comments? How about trepidations? Who's comfortable with writing? 1, 2. All right. At least 2 and a couple halves, if not a solid 4. Good. Then this will be fun for us. So if you take a look at the second page, it lays out what are the requirements for the class, and the goal is for everybody to do well here, and like I said, for this to be context for your internship experience. You see that everything is due by August 27th. That gives you a week after you get back from Indonesia or Zanzibar to finish up your assignments. Generally, I don't have a problem taking things late if you communicate in advance about it being late. The reason why we have a deadline, though, is that we need to submit your grades to the college in New Jersey, and I'm sure that you guys will want to get transcripts for the fall or sometime for the winter. So those of you that are graduating or who are thinking about requirements that you have to take, so that you have that in place. So the course is going to start with you guys doing 4 original learning objectives, which we'll talk about in a minute. As you can see, the most heavily weighted part of the course is to participate fully in your internship without any unexcused absences. And so, I mean, if you're sick, you can't go, but you should be taking your internship seriously, which I know all of you plan on doing. You guys are the beneficiaries of this course being taught several times before. Layla, when we did this with some of your other TCNJ colleagues in its first year, a couple of years ago, there was probably 2.5 times the amount of readings and a lot more writing assignments. And from trial and error, we learned that we were stressing people out and that we were taking away time from them from what they could have been doing in their internship or engaging actually in citizen diplomacy rather than writing about citizen diplomacy or reading about citizen diplomacy. So I think it's really manageable in terms of what we ask you to read. I would wager it's less than 100 total pages for the whole course. I've sent you guys the readings already, so conceivably you could do all the readings even before you go if you want, and just refresh yourselves on them before we do our classes. The 3 blog posts are a complete overlap with what we ask for you to do for the AUA internship anyway. So these are the same 3 blog posts, just the distinction is that you're going to get more feedback on your blog posts from me than what you would get if you weren't taking the course. That we're just going to spend a lot more time on them. That doesn't mean that there isn't the same amount of value to what your colleagues who are not taking the course are putting together. It just means that you're going to get more coaching on your writing than what they're going to get. You see that we're going to do the memo that we talked about, and also the final photo essay project. And the photo essay, who amongst you guys enjoys taking photographs? Okay. Kate, no. Kate, you're anti-photograph. And Caroline, I couldn't see if you raised your hand or not. You're in there too? Okay. So, Kate, you'll let me know if this is a challenge for you, but this is a great way to produce something that's creative for other audiences, and it's also we always have this aspiration that in the fall do some kind of exhibit, whether it's online or whether it's in a physical place, of students' different photo essays that we can get a whole group of people to come and see that, and it's another way for us to advance our mission by showing these beautiful pictures and these descriptions that go along with it. So let's talk about learning goals. You guys we already talked about purpose. You guys are already familiar with these 4 objectives from all the webinars that we've done about taking responsibility for safety, having an impact, dispelling stereotypes, and bringing the experience home. Like I said, there's a complete overlap with what you're already doing for the internship and what this course is designed to do. Now, the learning goals, I think, are an important part of this, and we do something like this with your individual work plans, which all of you are in the process of putting together right now. Can I get a break from talking, and maybe will one of you read that first part about learning goals? Any volunteers?
I'll read it.
All right, thank you.
Right. Our vision is a world where Americans...
Scroll down a little bit, Caroline, to within this framework. This course has the following goals. We're on the top of page 2.
Oh, okay. Within this framework, the course has the following learning goals. Students will be able to articulate and apply principles learned through the internship experience. Student will complete assignments that encourage in-depth analysis of the internship experience. Student will gain self-understanding, self-confidence, and interpersonal skills by working in a multicultural environment. Student will develop work competencies for a specific profession or occupation by contributing substantially to the mission of his or her internship placement. Student will explore career options and gain general work experience.
Good. Pretty straightforward, right? Our goal here is to be practical and not to be overly academic or ideological as far as what we're trying to accomplish with this. So if we skip down to guidelines for writing learning objectives, that each one of you is going to put together at least 4 learning objectives, and they'll be due at the end of the first week of your placement. And can I ask somebody else to read those first 5 bullets about guidelines to use for developing learning objectives? Kate, please.
Okay. Avoid broad and general objectives. Make them specific and as measurable as possible. The objective should be realistic considering the time constraint. How will I accomplish the objective? Be specific. What knowledge do I want to acquire during this internship? What do I want to understand at the conclusion of this experience? And what new skills do I want to master as a result of the internship?
Yeah, the 2 that I would really like to pull out from that bullet list are the second and the 5th one, is being realistic about the time constraints that are at hand. And if one of your goals focuses on the impact you're going to have in the classroom in a Zanzibari public school, I don't think that you can expect that you're going to see your students writing flowing essays that, you just have to be sort of realistic about what it is that they're going to accomplish and not take on the burden of, this person is going to write their placement exam to get into school, and their flowing personal essays as a result of me having worked with them for 6 weeks. Or maybe that is a realistic objective, but this is why we ask you to do them by the end of your first week in country, is so that you can really have that time measurement in there and you understand that you need to be realistic rather than idealistic about this. And then the 5th one, about what new skills do I want to master as a result of the internship, I think that that's really important too, because this is for you guys. And the service that you do is designed to be for other people, but you have to put yourself into that equation as well. And that's why we do the individual work plans with you too, is that you're thinking about, how do I want to come out the other side of this as a professional? What kind of things do I want to be able to put on my resume? What kind of things do I want to feel comfortable saying that I can do? And this is the time to think about that. And like the same way that you would train for an athletic contest or whatever the case may be, is that this is building your muscles in these areas and acquiring these professional skills that hopefully will be useful to you. So it's always fun to start off with things that aren't good and that don't work. So we got some examples here of bad learning objectives. I want to work on PowerPoint presentations. I want to answer questions about various programs offered. I want to become an organizational specialist. Like, what does that mean? I want to become an organizational specialist. I want to participate as a team member in day-to-day office tasks. So for somebody who wanted to create strong PowerPoint presentations, can somebody take that first one, that first bad learning objective, and turn it into a strong learning objective? Christina, go for it.
Yeah, I was thinking something like a little, just like more specific than just like PowerPoint presentations. Like the goal with that could be like I want to strengthen like the use of technology to better communicate things that I've learned. Something like about like the external goal as well, like communication or education with that technology mastery.
Yeah. So if we were rewriting this, you spoke to it, Christina, but you generally want to lay out the objective, like, so I want to improve my PowerPoint presentations, or I want to improve my presentation skills in larger writ. And then you would have like what I call like a by statement or an action statement. By delivering PowerPoint presentations or designing and delivering PowerPoint presentations to my class of 20 Indonesian students. So you're recognizing like what's the activity that you're going to do in order to achieve that objective, like with that by doing the yada yada. And then the next part of it is going to be an impact aspect, so that they are able to better learn or to improve their English language, capacities as far as listening and then speaking. So there's a measurement in there as well. So it's like you're laying out what it is you want to do, you're saying how it is you're going to do it, and then you're offering us an indicator for how is it that we're going to be able to measure success or not. If you turn the next page, page 4, let's just read through maybe the first couple of these so you get a general idea of that structure. Layla, would you read them, please? Start with I want to improve my skills. Oh wait, you can't. We don't have a voice, right? Okay. Caroline, you're up. Can you read the first few?
Alright. I want to improve my skills with different content management systems by supporting my host organization in the design and launch of a new English language website.
Okay, so just to interrupt for a second,
Mm-hmm.
we get a good idea here, and this was a real student. I want to improve my skills, different content management systems. So this was somebody that was interning, similar to what Layla's doing at Fawe in Zanzibar. This is someone who was interning with an organization that needed help in setting up a new English language website. And so, this person hadn't worked in content management systems before, and so she had to do some research on what are different content management systems, what are the easiest ones to use, and then what we have in the second part of it is you see that she's going to be designing and launching the English language website. So it's implicit in there. The by statement is implicit in there, is that they are launching this new website, and then that also happens to be the measurement of success, is that the new website is up, traffic is going to it, and we see that this person was successful, that they created a finished product that was useful, aesthetically pleasing, etc. What about the next one, Caroline?
I want to develop my teaching skills by preparing and teaching daily English conversation classes to a group of high school students.
Okay. And the next one?
I want to improve my presentation skills and share my experience in Indonesia with my faith community by gathering information about the different ways that Indonesians observe Ramadan and compiling that information into an informative PowerPoint presentation.
Okay, so that last one was like a 2-in-1 variety. This was somebody who wanted to share the cultural component of her internship and observation of Ramadan, and she wanted to improve her presentation skills. And you see how she tied it together, that she's going to be improving her presentation skills by gathering this information and then sharing it in an effective way. And yeah, I like that one. I think that's a good one. If we skip ahead to the last one, I want to serve as a cultural ambassador by meeting at least 2 Moroccan students every week and engaging in dialogue about the similarities and differences of student life in our respective countries. I just mentioned that one because these kinds of learning objectives, they should span the whole purview of what you guys are doing there. There's things that could do with international development impact. There's things that can do with your own professional skill building. There's things that can do about bringing the experience home. And there's things that have to do about dispelling stereotypes, of Americans overseas. And you find the mix of what works for you. You don't have to have one in each of the 4 categories, but your objective should fall within those 4 categories. Any questions about this? Sometimes people have a hard time with this, but sometimes they don't. Okay, just moving along here, I think we've talked enough about participation in your internship. Like, that's the key thing in this class. You guys should do timesheets that IU or Ulrika will sign for you, and you guys can do that either on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. You can create your own timesheet, or if you need a template, we can send you one. Moving on to the course readings, I don't have a ton more to add than what's written here. That with that first class of international development readings, Sachs and Easterly are the two polar opposites on the different debates about international development and different approaches to it. There's so much in between, and there's so much more to read besides a chapter in each one of these books. But this gives you a sense of just the landscape. And when you get to do the readings here, please read the Sachs reading first. If you read Easterly first, it won't be as fun. So read Sachs first. And then with the citizen diplomacy readings, that first reading is like an antique, and parts of it will make you laugh as you're reading it. Cell phones hadn't really been invented yet, or the internet. I think this was like pre-internet, or just right when we were, getting into the throes of using the internet. And so there's stuff there about going to the public library and finding out more information. But this was basically a manual that was written for a Cold War context, even though it was published in 1995, about the whole idea of doing Track 2 diplomacy and how to go abroad and engage as a citizen diplomat. Even though it's old, I still think that the things that are written about in there about being an effective citizen diplomat are really still quite useful. And for each one of these, like I said at the top, you guys will write a one-page response paper. I've sent you the prompts to respond to for the one-page response paper. Those are due usually 3 days before our class, and turning them in means to send it to me and to the rest of the group in the class so that we can all read it in advance of our class together. Any questions about the readings? No? Okay. Layla, do you have so much to say, but you just can't say it? No? Okay. All right. I'm glad that our format's not restricting you then. Okay. As far as the writing assignments, I already talked so much about the writing assignments. It's 3 blog posts. The due dates are in your manual, and we just coincide with those due dates. Make sure that when you send them in that you send it to me too, and not just to Kathleen and to Esther. And then as we move on to the memos, you guys have a choice of picking and choosing which of the 2 memos you want to do. You don't have to do both. One of them is directly tied to the international development theme. The other one is to the citizen diplomacy theme. Similar to what I was saying about the reflective writing for the response papers, this should be analysis, like a long description of what your organization does is not it's not useful for the target audience. For a memo, this memo in particular, it's to me. Like, you are a summer service intern with America's Unofficial Ambassadors, and you're sending a memo to the director of America's Unofficial Ambassadors, and you're sharing with me your insight into either the strengths and weaknesses of your host organization and those 4 subpoints, or what you think makes a successful unofficial ambassador. And as you see, I want you to use the headings that are delineated below. So you see the memo is due August 27th, and then skipping down to the middle of that paragraph, on the middle of page 7, the final memo must address the topics above and use headings to divide each reflection topic within your paper, i.e. the organization's mission, strengths, challenges, use of volunteers, and recommendations for the first memo. One of the things with memo is that the format is so important. That this is not an area for creative writing, but rather for strong analysis within a specific set structure for a target audience. Any questions? Yes, Christina, good.
I just have, it's more of like a confirmation for a memo 2 and letter A, like what are the opportunities for engagement? That's, I mean, I know this is like referring because it's about being an unofficial ambassador. That's about like our specific experience. Like, for example, if I'm teaching in the public school, I'm focusing on like my opportunities within that particular, my like placement, not necessarily like overall in Zanzibar or can you just like clarify? Sorry.
Yeah, it's a great question. You can go either way with that. So
Okay.
you have the latitude in how you frame the memo as, you know, to Ben from Christina regarding opportunities to engage as an unofficial ambassador in the public schools in Zanzibar, or, you know, in the Tumakuja school as a biology teacher. So like you can make it as tight as you want, or you can make it as broad as you want. But the thing is you just have to support what, if you're going to make it in the public schools in Zanzibar, then you should definitely talk to Frank, who's also teaching in a different public school, and see what his viewpoints are. And if you just say in schools in Zanzibar, you should also talk to Kate, so that you are capturing, you know, all of their findings in this memo, and you're letting me know that's what this memo is about. If you want to make it like a memo about biology teachers and what were the ways that you could, like, you don't think of biology as a natural segue into engaging in citizen diplomacy, but how teaching science enabled you to engage with people, that also is a very interesting memo that I would be happy to read.
Yeah.
The key is just you frame for me what the memo is about within this framework.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah. Did that trigger any other questions? No. Okay. Okay. So I'll give you a choice. Do you want to read the section on the photo essay out loud, or do you want to skim it and see if you have any questions right now, or have you already read it and you're prepared to ask questions or say, no, we don't have any questions about this? It's a 3-choice option. A, read it out loud. B, read it to yourselves. C, cut straight to the chase and see if we have any questions. Because photo essays, you want C. All right. 3. We have consensus. All right. Any questions? Oh. Tantalizingly, no questions. I was hoping, Kate, you were going to ask a question about whether, you know, what this photo essay was all about and how much you hate taking pictures and do you have to do it. But, all right. Okay, Christina.
I think, I mean, mine's like, I'm going to just say it straight out. Like, I skimmed through the syllabus, but I didn't read it in depth. I apologize. I'll just throw myself under the bus. Could you, like, maybe just give us any, like, key things that you want us to take out of it?
You're choosing secret option D of have me read it to you? Is that what you're saying?
I can read it. I didn't want to waste everyone else's.
Right.
Well, actually, I've done 2 different photo essays, so and they were so different. So I'm sort of now a little wary of them a little bit. So I thought I just wanted to hear a little bit from you.
Okay, so the important thing with the photo essay is having a theme. You know, and we have our 2 major themes with it is, you know, your impact and development, or, you know, this engagement and citizen diplomacy. And so you want to be taking a portfolio of pictures that, you know, speaks to one of those 2 things. And, you know, that can be either tricky to depict through photographs or just very straightforward of, like, you know, in terms of, generally, none of these are selfies of you guys, like, in the classroom or, you know, yucking it up with your new Indonesian friends or Zanzibari friends. There is certainly an opportunity for there to be some selfies in there, but if you send me 10 pictures of yourself in different settings, then I'm going to tell you, give this photo album to your family and give me a photo essay. So I want you guys to be observers and part of that observation can be with yourself as part of the portrait or in the scene, but please don't send me 10 pictures of yourself with descriptions of what you were doing that weekend, because that's for yourself and for your own memoirs rather than to create a statement. Think about your target audience for this. The target audience for the memo is me. It's a one-person target audience. The target audience for the photo essay is similar to the blogs. It's the general public that do not know you, perhaps have never been to Zanzibar or Indonesia, that needs to have the setting set for them a little bit in terms of this is the place and these are the people, and that you progress to pictures that are telling the story of, here are students learning in the classroom. Here's a student at debate club, delivering a debate, delivering an argument in a debate, speaking to the impact of this is what I did as an English teacher. Here are students, looking at things under a microscope and, splitting different paramecium. These pictures with the description, the accompanying description, should tell the story of one of those themes. And I think about it, I look at the picture and I want to know, what is that? Let my imagination think about it for a minute. And then when I read the brief description of what it is, then either my imagination had run wild or it was fulfilled or somewhere in between. I would write the preface to the essay, the photo essay, after you've assembled your pictures together and have created your story. And so that preface is kind of like your reflection upon the reflection. This is how this all came together, and this is the point I'm getting across. And I think that it should generally, it can introduce, but can also stand alone in terms of this is what like an author's note of this is what I was trying to accomplish here. Is that helpful, Christina?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have follow-up thoughts or questions on that? Okay. So that's the course. My grading philosophy is that I want all of you guys to get A's in this. I look at it as the finished product and the effort that's put in the process of creating the finished product. Like if it takes you 3 tries, 4 tries to get the blog post right, and the fact that you went back and kept on trying to get it to a place where it was of publishable quality, then I apply. And it doesn't matter to me that you didn't write the perfect essay on the first try, but it's getting to the result at the end. You guys do the work and go to your internships and put your all into the internships, and everything's going to be great. Yes? Oh, is that a thumbs up or a question? All right, but I'm going to just lay this out for you right now. We're going to have 2 more classes, and if I have to talk the whole time during those classes, everything is not going to be all right. I understand this is not the most scintillating material to go over in terms of the syllabus, but I do expect a good conversation with you guys where you have audio. Layla, I know that I'm picking on you right now. And that you put yourselves, you guys can all huddle around the same computer together, or you can be in different places, but that you just put yourself in a place where you have a Wi-Fi connection and that we can actually talk to each other about these different issues. Okay?
That sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Are we all going to be in Zanzibar?
No, this is 3 of you will be in Indonesia and 3 of you will be in Zanzibar. So we're excited about that we're going to get some cross-pollination.
Cool. Right on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Any last words before I go drink the rest of my water bottle? I had to talk for the last hour.
I think I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay, good. Nice to see you guys. Indonesia alumni hangout is going to be tonight, Caroline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know what happened with Katrina the other night. She's wonderful. I hope that I have to check with Kathleen and make sure that she's okay. I'm sorry that didn't pan out. if you have questions, we can try to do a redo, but I apologize for that.
Yeah, no worries. I hope she's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Ben, do you have 1 second for me to stay on the line and ask you
Yes.
something? Great, thanks.
Okay. Bye,
See you,
guys.
everyone else.